All right. Yeah, we didn't have to punch at the end.
Yeah.
Yes.
Welcome back, Mika.
Welcome home.
Come on. In the hot seat. Even when I was here, this was my seat.
Yeah, pretty much.
Coral's over there. It's great to be back with the boys.
Glad to have you back.
Great to have you. What a great song for 3 tenors with low G.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Always wanted to cover that song.
And good vibes all around.
You guys know how to make a mix where it's not stepping on each other. Kalei, can you show the chords if somebody wants to strum along?
Yeah, sure. So, the song is in the key of B flat. So, B flat in this song would be your first chord. So it goes from B flat to an F major. This is for the verse. Back to B flat, or B flat to an E flat. Sorry. So B flat, E flat. And I actually like to hold my E flat similar to how I was holding B flat earlier. So what I'm doing, instead of playing a traditional E flat like this or like that, it's almost like I'm playing a sus. So what I'm doing is if you just hold a B flat like this and kind of bend your ring finger in, or if you want to take your pinky and put it on the C string 3rd fret, you're gonna get this chord. So back to B flat, F, B flat, E flat, B flat, F. And then the chorus is very similar. We're going to add a G minor. Instead of going to be B flat, G minor, F, B flat, E flat, G minor, F. And that's pretty much the chorus to the entire song. The only difference between verse and chorus is one chord.
It's such a vibe.
Yeah.
Especially if you can have other people doing like the other inversions or the other different other chords of that.
Oh, yeah.
That's how I was filling in with Kalei while he was doing that.
Corey and Mika, talk about how you guys were able to harmonize so you're not just doubling each other.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so while I play the first position, which is B flat, playing those B flat, E flat to F, Mika's playing up here. Just the first inversion of those chords?
Pretty much, yeah. And by doing that, with Kalei holding down the foundation, the chord, or the foundation and the chords, and the vibe, that lays a strong foundation. So now Corey can do some picking over here, and while he's doing picking in this region of the fretboard, I can go ahead and kind of mirror him and do like harmonies up here. So essentially. So essentially the pattern that I'm doing is I'm holding this B flat chord. I hold it a little funky because of some cool chord efficiency stuff, but maybe folks are more familiar with this is B flat, like a G shape, but on the 5th fret. So you're gonna go ahead and do this picking pattern. One more time. Then you can go ahead and hold like kind of this A shape right here. You don't need to hit the top string, and you're gonna go ahead and move up to the 6th fret. So you're holding 7, 6, 6, and do the same pattern. And then you're gonna go ahead and go back to that same B flat chord. And then you're gonna go ahead and hold an F in this D shape right here. So 5, 5, and 3, and same thing. So when you put it together, using the wrong pattern. You get a nice sound like that. So, sorry, overtime. So I'm doing A, E, C, A, C, E, A. There you go. And then with Corey, it sounds like this. are you doing, Corey, down there?
Wait, it's the. I was doing. I was kind of like skipping one of the notes. It's on the second half of the picking, so.
It gives it kind of like a syncopated feel. Like when you take certain beats out, it kind of makes it sound like the accents hit a little differently, right?
Yeah,
and
so
the
like the
rhythm hits a
accent
little differently.
makes it sound less robotic.
Right.
Because if we just played the same, I mean, it still sounds nice if we mirrored each other as far as.
But
like,
you're
the picking
playing
pattern
enough
and
of
stuff.
what I'm playing to where you can hear the harmonies, but it sounds still a little.
Yeah,
like
'cause
something's
then-
missing, but in a like in a good syncopated kind
A
of
little
way.
bit
Yeah.
more of a melody than just playing the whole thing, right?
Right, because we have Kalei in the back, and it's like I have to leave enough room to so you
Right.
can hear the rhythm come through too. So when we do that, everything just sounds full, and nobody's stepping on each other's toes.
Right.
Yeah.
So
We all
play it
have our own
together.
role, and we try to stick in our role and
Yeah.
not try to step on
Yeah.
each other. Because
So
if
if
we
we-
all are firing, I mean, that's too much of a sound. And
Yeah.
imagine
So-
if you have a singer. If we had a singer in the group with 4 of us, then we would play even softer. Probably, I would play even less notes. You'd probably play less notes, and Kalei would probably strum a little softer. So, but because we're not singers,
I'm a
we can play a little louder.
shower or karaoke singer.
I only sing in the car.
Doing much teaching these days?
No, it's cool because this past few months, or it's been a while since I did a podcast, but back in April, I did my first festival in the United States, all the way in Altoona, Pennsylvania, which is about 2 hours east of Pittsburgh. That was in the later half of April for the Allegheny Ukulele Festival. That was a wonderful experience. And then I recently just came back from Indiana, North Manchester, for the Midwest Uke and Harmonica Camp. That was also another fantastic event.
Neil was there too, right?
And Neil Chen
Oh,
was
man,
there,
you get to hang
and
out with
Ukulele
Neil.
was there, so it was
And Ukulele.
very some
Jealous.
You hear
crazy
some good harmonica players?
virtuosic
Yeah.
harmonica players. I was saying that Andy and Sandy, the harmonica players, there is, I think it was Sandy or maybe it was both of them, but they were like soloing for like 3 minutes, and I recorded it, and I was like talking to Neil, and I was like, Neil, that's like a year of licks. Like if you were to just deconstruct what they just played in 3 minutes, I would have a year of just learning licks that I could probably incorporate on ukulele, and it's just insane.
Yeah, with the
And-
chromatic harmonica, they
yeah,
can do anything.
right.
It's,
No,
like, crazy.
right. I mean,
I never heard of a chromatic.
It's
harmonica.
Oh,
It's
we used
crazy.
to sell them. Yeah, no, I mean, like,
Then again, I don't know
it's-
how harmonicas work.
yeah,
either,
no,
so.
harmonica can do the most complex jazz and everything. It's
they did all kinds of stuff. I mean, there's like this little knob where you pull and then everything moves, so you can
Right.
like play all the chromatic notes to that other side.
Right.
But you have to like balance that.
Whoa.
I hope I'm explaining it correctly, but that was a master class and a half times 2.5. I mean, but so I just came back from that, and then actually the 3 of us recently just finished up the Hawaii Ukulele Festival on Sunday on July 23rd.
oh, you played there too?
I closed out the event with these fellow gentlemen, along with Brian Tolentino and Haleapu Seabury, who's also been on this podcast here. But essentially, I had the last set. I played 4 songs. I brought Corey and Kalei on to jam a song, and then I had my mentor Brian Tolentino and my good friend Haleapu Seabury. And the 5 of us just fired and played the Miley Swing, a very famous standard Hawaiian song. We just had a Kani Kapila jam session on stage, and that's how we closed out the event with a big uncontrollable bang. But these 2 guys also did their duet set, and they smashed it, just like how you guys see them playing here on the podcast. They're have all that energy on stage, and you guys just fantastic. And even Brittany Fiva jumped in with you guys, right?
Yep.
And
Yeah.
played Isn't She Lovely? So it was fun being backstage and watching them play. It was awesome.
It's funny because like we're all jumping on each other's sets.
Yeah. And we asked the organizer too, like, is this okay? It's like, as long as it's something good, like, I think it'll be good. So we went out, and thankfully she came up, Amy, and she's like, you guys are wonderful. Oh my gosh. So that was
awesome.
That was a fantastic
That's the spirit of
experience.
ukulele, just
It's
getting
really
together
just
and jamming.
getting together, helping each other out, and just making awesome music, and really just having a good time, just like what we do here on the podcast, just on stage, and there's a couple hundred people in front of there, so
This is live. We're plugged in.
Yeah.
Big speakers.
one take.
One take. That's all you get.
One take. And I was talking to Kalei and Corey, guys, when you do your set, you also have a bunch of legends behind you backstage all listening to you, so that adds an
know.
extra. You have a lot of people in front of you, and then a lot of big time ukulele players standing in the back.
A lot of weight on your shoulders.
and a lot of sound. So, but Yeah, no,
That's
so
awesome
it's been a
you've
great time.
Yeah, getting around. But you're still doing lessons, right?
Right, so doing private lessons, and then I'm gonna get back into my 2 college classes this coming August. So full roster of things, but I always try to find my way back here to do some sound samples, hang out with these gentlemen.
Thanks for
and
coming
Mr.
down
Andrew.
tonight.
So it's always a pleasure being here. Thank you, folks. The Romero had more sound coming like on the deeper end of the body versus these two had more of the sound like kind of in front of the instrument. This one and then the Pono also has, or the Millar brand. It's the first time I'm playing this. Has more of like a more rounded kind of warmth kind of sound to it. This one sounds really kind of loud too. The Romero sounded a little softer compared to the Pono and then this Millar. Yeah, this one's really well balanced. Yeah.
Pretty much whatever Mika said nailed it, in my opinion. What I also hear from here, besides it having like a really nice warm tone, I think this one might be a little bit more, slightly more punchier, I would say. And very, very balanced. Nothing really is too far out there in the front as far as like tone wise and frequencies goes. Really deep, really fat. The Pono thing, in my opinion, had the longest sustain out of these three ukuleles. And that's really, really important when you're playing music. I mean, for me, it's like, as for us, like, that play instrumental music. And then the Romero has a really nice and sweet voice to it. And it's not, like, as boomy as the other two tenors. It's a little bit more quiet, more on the mellow side. But it has a really nice balance as far as sustain and tone and playability, which is what they're known for. So that's kind of my take on these three tenors.
Can I add something?
Add something?
Oh, add something.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Because it came to me now that I'm like touching them.
Yeah, get closer to the mic.
All right. With brother Kalei right here. Now, one of the things I wanted to mention was in terms of the playability, I noticed that when I play, say, like the Romero, it has a wider nut. So if you are more of a guitar player and you want that wider nut space, this is a really good instrument versus the other two.
Yeah.
I think are the more traditional nut size, which is I think the 1
1.5 to 1 3/8.
1.38. This is 1.5 inch. This is a skinnier neck too. If you folks prefer a skinnier neck versus maybe a more traditionally shaped neck or maybe a chunkier, thicker neck, this is a very thin neck. The Romeros versus I would say this Millar is probably the more traditional. What do you think in terms of how it feels, like the shape of the neck?
Yeah, I mean,
it has a traditional.
it
nut
does
width.
feel very
Pretty
familiar.
standard, yeah.
But I noticed that like I guess like the feel between like all three of them, you can definitely feel the difference, and they all feel comfortable,
Right.
but they feel different.
Right.
Like with the Pono, you're gonna get a really nice radius fretboard on there, so that's like an added comfort.
Right, versus
With the
this is-
wider
this is
nut
flat,
over there, that
right,
might be better for people with bigger hands,
Yeah.
or you don't really need to have big hands to play wider spacing, wider necks. It's just what you prefer, basically, and you have three different options, which that's awesome.
So I just wanted to add that. Cool.
I really like the feel of this one, like what Mika was saying, because of the wider and flatter fretboard. Also, the wider string spacing. It's a little easier for me because I play guitar. I'm more used to this kind of string spacing, which is
like I was saying, very comfortable. And with the Romero Creations, it has a very different kind of tonal response compared to the other two models. Really, really good clarity, and what helps that is the fluorocarbon strings. Yeah, a little more soft-spoken too, which is really good for, you know, these kind of melodic chord playing, I guess. Yeah. The Millar, I thought, had the best balance of tone. Has really good low end, really good clarity, and a good amount of warmth. The Pono, felt like the two necks on the Millar and Pono are very similar. The only difference is the Millar doesn't have a radius fretboard, or does it? It's flat, yeah. The Pono, a little more punchier. I think better clarity than the Millar. So that works a lot for, I think, classical music, which is really nice. I like playing classical type pieces on Ponos, especially with those strings too. So, yeah. Oh, this one is real punchy. For a spruce top, it's really warm. I like that. Solid mahogany back and side, so that kind of mellows down the tone. It is soft spoken but very responsive because of I think a lot of the X brace that come in the Kalas now. Satin finish as well. Actually, all of them are satin finish. Very nice and warm. Neck is very comfortable too. Yeah. This is the ASMH GT, the exclusive Hawaii Music Supply tenor from KoAloha. Very light too. I like this. Very easy to handle. The Kumu, that is a newer model. That's the TM70, and features really nice mango wood. That one is good for guitar players because the neck is on the thicker side and the string spacing is wider. They build them a little bit lighter too, so you get this really chunky and responsive, not overly bright sound. It's very full. It's always surprising in a good way to hear those. The Pono just a really good classic tenor. The strings are titanium, so you get a more traditional ukulele kind of sound, which is really nice.
I actually really like this one. Acacia is actually Hawaiian koa is from the acacia family. So, if you're looking for something that uses wood that's very closely related to a lot of like higher end models at a affordable price, this would definitely be one you'd want to consider. All solid wood builds are always great because the longer you play them, or the more you play them, and the older it gets, the better they sound and the better they play. So this would be a great investment if you're looking to continue playing ukulele for a while and you want this ukulele to grow with you. So that's my thoughts on this Pono here. The Kala, it has a really nice balanced sound. I've always been a big fan of their solid mahogany model, which they discontinued the SMHT and then redesigned it and released the gloss version, and it still maintains that really nice warm tone. Their spruce tops sound really good, and when you combine the mahogany and the spruce together, it's a really nice combination and enjoy playing it. I've been a fan of spruce for a long time. I love the sustained and how much further the wood opens up as it ages. So it's a good long-term investment. The Kumu is very impressive because it is a laminate build. So the Kala and the Pono that we're demonstrating here are both all solid woods. With laminate builds, they're going to be a lot more stable. They won't move as much. So if you live in a drier environment and you want a really good sound, Kumu's the way to go. And what's cool about it is that they use woods from the island. So Hawaiian mango, Hawaiian koa. So that's one of the things I like about it. And you get a nice punchy sound, which I always am a sucker for. So that's kind of my take on these three models.
Yeah, this Pono has probably the most traditional sound, I think, of the three. It has a nice warm kind of mid range kind of tone, which is what, usually to my ears when I play acacia ukulele, is like Kalei said, it's the same family as koa. It has, to my ears, a really nice mid range sound, especially with the Pono build. Really like it. Playability is really nice. This has a slightly thicker or chunkier neck than, say, the traditional ukulele. So if you're a guitar player or you prefer having that kind of chunkier neck, this is a really great ukulele to, kind of grab a lot of the fretboard, and it feels really comfortable. The kala with the spruce top, to me, it has a really nice sound in which, I mean, this one does it too, but it has a nice sound to where, like, when you play it, you strum on it, like real, like this kind of jazz comp strum. All the strings and the sounds meld together really well. So it's like you hear one sound versus you hear like four different strings kind of bouncing off each other. You hear kind of one complete sound. So the sounds really meld together, which is really nice. That one's also probably the most balanced, I would say. Like, it has a nice warm sound, but it also has like a punchier sound because of the spruce top. Also, that one's really easy to play. I would say, playability wise, the Kala has the most, like, I guess, traditional neck in terms of like the size and the shape of the neck, the fretboard with the nut width. It feels really comfortable, something that I'm really used to. And then I would say the Kumu is definitely the punchiest, and it has the most projection, probably the loudest of the three. So if you really want that punch, if you want to go ahead and play fingerstyle and you need it to project, or you just need something loud to fill the room, that Kumu is a really nice one. Also love the aesthetics on the Kumu. Also just love the acacia on this. It's beautiful, especially for the price point. So fantastic instrument, especially the fretboard. Take a look at that fretboard. Really cool when you look at it in the light. And then the Kumu, I would say, has the wider fretboard too. So again, if you like having a little more string spacing when you're playing it, the Kumu has a little more space for you to hold even the more complicated chords. And then the neck's a little thinner than, say, the Kala and then even the Pono. So if you folks prefer a thinner neck, that's Kumu is a good option too. But again, all three are, I mean, for the price point, it sounds really great. Just like what Andrew said, like the ukuleles have come a long way from even 5-10 years ago. So you really can't go wrong with any of these three. So best of luck.
Yeah, it's interesting because you can get a really big punchy sound out of a laminate because you don't have to brace them as much. But then with solids, you get, I think, a little bit more focus. And then also, like Kalei was saying, as it ages, it continues to get better in sound. Three great options in at around just under $300. And yeah, thanks, guys. So next, KoAloha's tenors have always been a favorite, and tonight we're going to sample 5 different variations on the KoAloha tenor. But maybe first you guys can grab 3 of them and jam something on them.
right, that was good. That was good. That was great.
I like that.
Mika, can
Nice.
you show us
Okay,
those
sorry.
chords in maybe a couple different positions?
So we'll start with the bass positions, which is what Kalei was kind of handling a lot of the time. This is call it a 4-3-2-1 progression, or in Roman numerals in the key of C. So you're playing the F major 7, the E minor 7, D minor 7, then the C major 7. So start off with this funky shape. Probably one of the worst shapes on the ukulele. Seriously.
That's like the hardest.
Love
This
that
is the most
chord.
awkward.
F major 7 you
Yeah,
can play.
this shape is awful, but essentially it's 2-4-1-3. So you'll start off with that chord, and then you'll go into an E minor 7, which is 0-2-0-2, like this. Really nice chords. And then you'll go ahead and make your D minor chord and add the C note on the bottom, so 2-2-1-3. And then a nice simple C major 7 chord, 0-0-0-2. If you want to play another position up the fretboard in the middle, you can do this nice, like, kind of descending walking bass line, or just kind of chord shapes. So F major 7, 5-5-5-7. To me, a lot easier than this shape right here. So 5-5-5-7, and then you can play like this D minor 7 shape, but you move up 2 frets. This is your E minor 7, D minor 7, D sharp minor 7, E minor 7. So 4-4-3-5, and then go to the same D minor 7 that I showed earlier, 2-2-1-3, and then same here. If you want to do another variation of C major 7, you can also do this one, where you go 5-7-7-7.
Show them the stairs. This one.
Oh yeah, this one. 5-4-3-2. The stair. It's the fire escape right here. Or you can make C major 7 up here in this awkward shape right here. So what is this?
Emergency exit.
9, 11, 8, 10. So this is the chord that I ended with. So yeah, so
So when soloing over it, you're just in C and kind of accenting the chord you're
pretty much.
playing over.
Key of C, but you know Corey plays in and out of other keys. I play in the key of C. I don't know what they're doing, but I keep it simple, playing in C, and sometimes I add this little B flat note right here, slide into the B note. You know,
I
little.
like playing in if it's in like a C major 7. Like I like playing like
What
I
scale is
guess
that?
over A minor, which is really nice.
That's
So you're playing like the chord tones of A minor?
Yeah.
Oh, so you're outlining like an A minor. So
Outline
A,
like
C,
an
and E.
yeah.
Oh, so you get like a minor sound over that.
Yeah.
Over this.
That's
oh, wow.
cool.
That's sick. What are the secrets you want to share? I'm playing the C major scale, guys. I'm not doing anything special.
It's cool to throw in like in funky stuff, throwing in blues like like
So in the key of C, what are those notes? What is
you
a
can
C
throw in the
blues
B
scale?
flat,
So right here.
and it's like you're
And
playing.
B flat?
It's like depending if you're passing through, you can play like you're playing in B flat.
So where would you add that?
So,
Where would you
you
play
go-
those set of notes? On what chord? So on the F major 7 or on the E minor 7? Right
you know
there?
when you're going
Right there.
you can
Oh,
it's
okay.
like you're passing it
Because you're
there.
playing the 5 of the F.
You
Okay.
can throw in that.
Oh, okay.
It's like you're essentially playing the C minor or that pentatonic.
But only when it's at the very end of the C major 7. Playing C7, going to F.
You can get pretty edgy if you want and just throw that in.
That's all
and
you do.
Chromatically.
Edgy. Is there anything special you're doing when you're playing the minor 7 chords? So like the... Like,
I like
here,
outlining these kind of chords. Like,
which is what?
almost like a sus.
Like E?
Like when you're playing over this F.
Yeah. Sounds like pentatonic scale.
Almost, but you're flatting the. You're playing like a sus and a minor at the same time, almost.
An F sus?
Yeah, if you're playing over F, right?
Sorry guys, I'm just trying to pick Corey's brain for all of us to understand how he does his crazy stuff. Trying to ask the right questions. Very nice.
You ask me what I'm doing, I don't know.
It's my
Most
goal.
of them I don't.
My job as a teacher, trying to ask the right question. Kalei, is there anything kind of interesting that you think you're doing beyond playing just like in the C scale? you think you're doing? Is there anything you're thinking of beyond this is the notes I can play throughout this?
I'm thinking more of like rhythmically and how I could change the order and timing of like notes to kind of give it a different feeling. You know, instead of playing very like, you know, like kind of
Square.
kind of square,
Vanilla,
you know,
yeah,
like
yeah.
typical, you know, like I'll
Right.
try to like play in between. So when I'm
So
hearing
let's
stuff
see.
like this. You know, it's kind of like just playing around like with where the chords are. And then there was a point in that song where I was kind of like doing like some chord melodies too.
Right.
So I was doing stuff like, so it starts with the F major 7, and then so I'll do stuff like,
Charming it up.
So essentially, he's playing is rather than picking, he's trying to make chords
I'm trying
and
to
then
like
like
play
you'll hammer on a chord.
3-part harmony solo lines. You know, that's where I'm.
Benichon.
You know,
Benichon.
that's like I'm like the knockoff version. It's like not even correct, but somewhat sounds somewhat influenced. You know, but yeah, that's what I'm
Funk.
doing.
Yeah, it's like mix of jazz, dude.
I noticed when I was comping you like 3 minutes ago, I switched my beat and you followed my switching of the beat. So can you talk about that? Because that's something that when I watch you folks play, you guys kind of like you guys give vibes and then you kind of play to the vibe that your accompanist is playing. So like I started off like this, but then I change it to, and then you kind of played around that. Can you kind of talk about like how like
Well,
the
like
thought
filling in
process
the
of it?
space, right?
Yeah.
yeah, it's kind of like filling in space, but then also going where, you know, everyone else wants to go. And Corey and I, it happens to Corey and I a lot when we're playing together, where all of a sudden it's like everything changes, but it changes like right away, and it wasn't planned, you know, we're not really thinking. It's more of like Uncle Brian always stresses musical awareness, listen. And
We
another
listen
thing
more
that
than
you
we
can
play.
do too is listen and feel at the same time.
Yeah.
Because sometimes when you're feeling what you're listening to, you can predict what's going to kind of happen. You can kind of feel this build or this kind of, you know, decrescendo. It's about to die down. And sometimes you can get some crazy stuff. And when it happens, it's beautiful. And then sometimes when I don't hit it as well as I normally, or I wish, you know, I
Right.
could, it doesn't come out as good. And I'm like, oh, well, you know,
then we
listen
move on
better
to the
next
next-
time.
What would Holly say? Hey, we just crashed in Bird. You know? We pick ourselves back up and keep going.
That's what it is, basically. We're just listening to what each other's doing.
We've always learned that, right? Like you have to listen more than you play. But it's like, but how we're doing all these, you know, things and stuff. But like, I think it comes to a point where you try to practice all your chops and all those hundreds, thousands of hours in your room. So when you play together, it's almost like this is kind of baked in. This is all like ready to go, and then you just really. Well, whatever Corey does, I can't copy Corey, but you start feeling and doing all these kind of licks that you've practiced. Like
We're also following each other.
Right.
We're not following one person. You know, everybody's kind of listening. And
yeah,
it's like, this is all of our ideas.
Right.
You know? Endless combinations of what could happen.
It's like you're making a stew, and then you're like, these ingredients will work. Oh, this will work. This, and you just keep throwing in something, and then hopefully it's a good stew in the end.
Yeah.
Hey, broccoli doesn't belong in here, but sometimes maybe it does.
I think that's the
If you
fun.
make it fit.
That's the fun of music and I guess cooking to a degree is like you kind of improvise and you see what happens. If it works, it works, and try to remember and do it again next time. If not, just try something new. And that's one of the things I enjoy playing with these guys is that when you just have fun, whether it's in here in this kind of podcast setting or just a few days ago at the Hawaii Ukulele Festival where, hey, we're going to do this. What key? Okay. Is there anything else? Nope. We'll see you on the other side. Kind of, we just kind of organically see what happens, and you know, I think that's the magic and why I really like playing with other people, because it's just you never know what's going to happen, and it's always that kind of curiosity. You kind of chase after that, and you always chase that kind of high of, wow, that was sick, but we didn't plan that. But I was like,
Oh,
wow,
yeah.
if we planned that, it would have came out like that. Versus, wow, what was that? So
Great
Thanks, guys.
insights, guys.
yeah, good fun.
It's like not playing the wrong thing. Nothing is wrong if you play it confidently.
Put that in the quotes in the comment section.
So
Play confidently, it's not wrong.
it looks like Kalei and Mika are playing the same model, but if you look at the depth of body on Kalei's, it's yeah, right. Kalei's a little bit skinnier right now.
You mean
Kalei has so much muscle that ukulele looks skinnier. What's the same? This one's loud. There's a lot of projection on this one, or my earphones, but wow. This is the Opio model, but man, this is really great sound too. Nice full body sound, real punchy, really loud. Of course, they're all the same KoAloha, tenor size models, so they're all functionally the same in terms of the fretboard and the neck shape. In terms of sound, yeah, they all sound really similar to each other. This one seems like it's the loudest, I think, or has the most projection, but all of them have a really nice projection and nice sound. I would say the Naupaka model, which is the one that's half mango, half koa, I think that one might have been my favorite by a little bit. I felt like that one had a slightly sweeter sound, or maybe a slightly punchier sound because of the mango. But again, like if you blindfolded me, I'm pretty sure like I wouldn't be able to tell the difference. They all sound really, really great. What was the most surprising for me, I think, was the thin body. the thing is, you would think that because there's like half the body length or half the body depth of the instrument, it would be like half the volume. But I think other than maybe me feeling like, okay, I can snug it more so it feels really comfortable, the sound was the same as the full body one. So it really comes down to, do you prefer having that thinner body where you can kind of hug it and snuggle closer with it? Because that's kind of why I really like thin bodies too. It feels really comfortable holding it because it doesn't stick out as much, even though this is the traditional, body size or the depth of the instrument. When you can hug it a little more, it feels, I don't know, closer to your body, and you can, I'm not sure, just hug it a little more, but the sound is pretty much just the same. Still nice, warm, bright, just your typical standard KoAloha sound, beautiful stuff. But yeah, that thin body or the slimline was really nice, just like the other ones. So.
Is that all four? Oh,
That was fun, yeah.
all five. All five? Man. One thing I love about KoAloha ukuleles is that the sound is very consistent from all of their models. And they really have a really nice open tone from the very start. Regardless if you go with their made in Hawaii line or the OPO entry-level KoAloha build located in Thailand. And the cool thing about all of these is, again, they have great tone, good sustain, very consistent, But just because the Opio one is imported, don't let it fool you. It's braced very, very similar, if not the same, to these are. So it's the same specifications. The only difference is the types of woods, and also the how thick they cut the sets, because it's made out of acacia and it's also built in Thailand. They've always been very innovative and trying new things with, especially with models like this. The Naupaka has been a very cool model, one of my favorites for some time now, and I really like that they use different tone woods on one instrument for the top, back, and side. So koa, mango, all around. The Slim 9, like Mika was saying earlier, will be very surprising, because you would expect it to sound softer, but it sounds like a full-size ukulele. And we have customers that ask us questions of why would you want a slimline if you don't want to buy it just because it's more portable and easier to travel with. Well, we have some customers with shoulder injuries, and having to hunch over sometimes on a thicker body is uncomfortable. So that's one reason why you would want to pick up an instrument like a slimline KoAloha Tenor. And it sounds exactly the same as their famous KTM 00, which we all know and really love. They're also priced very reasonable for a made in Hawaii ukulele, and they all have a lifetime manufacturer warranty, which is really, really impressive, because a lot of other companies do not offer that. And so there's something for everyone from KoAloha, and enjoy playing their instruments. So that is pretty much my take on the Ukes. I do know with the Royal Pikake, I really love the type of satin finish they put on there. It's really nice and smooth. It doesn't weigh down the top much, or just the wood in general. So you get really nice movement for good sound, good projection. And if you don't want your fingerprints all over your ukulele, a satin finish usually is a better choice for you too. So there's, again, something for everybody here.
Was that all? What was it for? Okay. Let's see, the Royal Koa, was it? That tenor, the satin finish. That one, of course, satin finish was like the biggest and boomiest, which is nice. Same thing with this, because of the satin finish. It's gonna give you a little bit more of a growly kind of low end, which is nice. With the thin body, mostly, you know, it's not as deep sounding, and I think it's brighter in the higher register, a little more sparkly, which is nice. And then the alpaca, it is a different sound out of the three koa tenors. So of course, you know, it has to be because it's half mango and half koa. It's nice if you want something different from the standard KoAloha tone. You get the standard KoAloha tone, but it's like a little more rounded on the edges, which is a little smoother sounding. Yeah. This though, very impressive. You know, if you want to save a good amount of money, you don't compromise tone with this. And because the profile, the dimensions, the specs are the same, even the strings are the same, you're essentially getting the same as the regular KTM series, which is a lot of value in this model.
I feel like the koa or the Hawaiian ones in general are just a little bit sweeter sounding.
Yeah.
But yeah, for the cost, the Opio is quite the value.
Yeah.
All right, so the aNueNue Bird models are just always phenomenal instruments, and we're going to sample 3 different Bird tenors, but first let's get you guys jamming on some aNueNue.
That was cool.
It's a nasty solo, Kalei.
I don't know.
I'm grateful I went first. Set the bar really low, then you can just smash it. There you go.
Hey Clay, you know those are like really fast runs you do,
Oh,
like in the middle of that solo. Like what can you quickly break that down?
can you slowly break it down?
I'm kind of thinking about 3 different things at the same time. That's what's going on in my head. What the rhythm is, how fast everybody's playing, what everybody else is doing, so that when I solo, it's not really repeating something that's already going on. So some of the things that I like to do is, because once you pretty much, I mean, you should know what key you're playing in when you're playing a song, especially with other people. And one thing that I found that's really, really cool, and you can do this too, and try apply this to whatever song or a jam that you enjoy playing, is I'll take a barred version of, I guess you could say, the key of the song, which we're pretty much playing an E, but there is no E major chord present in pretty much the whole song. So to kind of like keep it sounding E major-ish, even though there's a whole lot of other things going on, I'll do stuff like kind of like this. It's almost like a arpeggio, but what I look at it more as a hammer on and pull off. And I'm starting from the top string and I'm hitting the G. So right now I'm barring on the 4th. I'm basically holding an E major on 4, 4, 4, 7. So it should go like this. So top from your top string. So G string, A string, pull off whatever finger you prefer to hold. I'm comfortable with my pinky on the A string, and I'm going to pull off from that note. So, and then I'll repeat the same thing and go to the next string and then pull off again. And then I'm going to go to the C string, hit the G on the top, C string, pull off. So when you do this faster, it gives it an illusion that there's, I mean, it's almost like doing a little magic trick in the middle of the solo is what I kind of think of it as. It sounds really cool, but it's with practice, it's not as hard as it actually sounds. So it would be like this. That's one way I do it. There's all sorts of other things too, and I'm kind of like arpeggiating the chords, kind of like what's similar with that Corey and Mika does in some situations. So like F sharp minor, F sharp minor and B7. So I'll take a F sharp minor shape over here. It still works, even though they're not playing E major. So listen to this.
Yeah.
That's just one thing that was going on.
What about like a?
Yeah.
Is that you doing that?
Yep. And you could start in any order, but that's kind of like the idea of the technique. It can be crazy like Mika and just, finger tap the whole thing. Yeah, there you go.
Tricks. Very cool. Okay, so we're going to try that cedar bird you're playing along with the koa bird Mika's got, and then the classic spruce rosewood. Let's get going on that.
Nice.
Oh, Corey, talk about that guitar.
So this is the
L600.
L600 or LS600, and is basically the Moonbird guitar in the fullest size available. And
Sounds fat.
it is
the large size.
same woods as the regular UT200, Swiss moon spruce on top,
East Indian rosewood on the back and side. And this size is not a standard or familiar size, like a O or any of the power size. This is like in between a double O and triple O, which is very comfortable, very easy to handle, and has very good low end. It's a good strummer, and finger picker in particular. I think they designed it more for finger pickers. So you play what you want and play whatever sounds good. But very nice, rich, low end bass. The neck is very comfortable too. All the way up, it doesn't really get thicker or wider as you get up to the the higher frets, which is nice for if you want to do complex chord voicings. It all works out great. And just like the regular Moonbird design, this staggered shoulder here acts like a cutaway, so you can hit all the notes up here. Yeah, the LS600.
Yeah, sounds great.
Super punchy. Good for holding down rhythm and stuff.
Oh yeah. It's a good all around guitar. If you want something that's of quality, sounds good, and you're just a casual strummer, it'll make those simple chords ring a lot more full.
Yeah, that tiny bit of slight scoop in the mids with a really full bottom and nice sparkle on the highs, it makes for just a really sweet voice.
Yeah, the sound hole placement too helps with the low end response. There's a lot more surface area for this to move around, and with the rosewood too on the back and sides, that helps bring out that really deep and rich.
And plus too, like
bass.
with all of the features and quality of the build and the tones you get, it's a very friendly price, affordable. It's
right at $19.99.
Yeah, it's just shy of $2,000. Most times, like when you see guitars that feature things like a similar build, same wood quality and all that,
Tone.
you'll pay a lot more.
Yeah.
At least double.
Yeah, it's based off a boutique level guitar, which is 10 to 12,000. Yeah.
What's very interesting is that I'm a huge fan of moonbirds. I have one myself. The spruce one, this one is probably the loudest. It's one of those where you pick it up and you're like, whoa, that's like a big sound. It's very punchy because of the spruce. So it's very obvious that this is a spruce top, especially in the sound. Just so crystal clear. I mean, with spruce, it's one of my favorite tone woods for the front because it's just has so much headspace, so much headroom, so much shimmer and brightness and clarity. Just so much shimmer. Nice full body sound because of the Indian rosewood. Yeah, amazing projection. On the cedar top, I noticed probably had the most body, like full body kind of sound. Not as punchy as the spruce top. And then the coal one probably had the most kind of rounded sound, or the most like mid-range sound, which is kind of lines up with what I would think it would sound like, because coal to me is a very mid-rangey type of sound in the tonal spectrum. So yeah, I mean, they all sound wonderful, but they all have their own characteristics, but they're all, I mean, amazing moonbirds or koa birds or cedar birds. So that's what I think. And then I love the playability, of course, of aNueNue. It's the shape of the neck, slightly flat in the middle. So when I have my thumb orientation like this, I'm not holding it in the middle like this, but maybe a little higher. It just feels right. Love the radius fretboard. It feels really nice, and it just feels really good for my playing style. I can move around very easily, and there's enough string spacing to do all these fancier chords. And again, especially with the spruce top, just so clear. Just like that. So I kind of grew tired of using that word. There's a lot of clarity. No. This ukulele has a lot of articulation, my favorite word. And I didn't realize how much I said it until Corey and Kalei and Angie said, hey, it's your favorite word. But for me as a classical player, it's one of my big words I like to use. Make sure that I can hear every single note, the note articulation. And this ukulele, all the moonbirds have it. It's so loud. I'm not even playing hard too.
Honestly, all three of them sound really, really good. there's a big reason why the Bird series ukuleles are very popular, and when they were put into to design, a lot of like the players and the musicians were that they kept in mind as far as like their opinions and what everyone seems to like went into the designs of these instruments. The cedar top is really, really good because I like warm sounding instruments, and this is something that's really, really good because it's not like super extremely warm. There's still a lot of clarity that comes through, and it has a lot to do with the way it's braced and the type of quality of woods that's used on these. Really, really cool. Really love how the cedar contrasts the spruce top moonbird, and they both have a really wide range of overtones that you hear. The spruce does cut through a lot clearer because that's naturally what spruce instruments do, and this would actually kind of round off the higher frequencies so that you get a nice mellow, well balanced tone from these. The Koa one is also really cool too because my favorite Koa model out of the whole entire series, so we're talking about Bird series from aNueNue, I love the UT3K. It's really nice that the maple accents the curly Koa really nicely. It has a very good traditional tone. It's not too bright, not too warm, and it has a really good balance. So I would kind of place the Koa ukulele or the UT3K somewhere in between the Moonbird and Cedar Bird as far as tone goes. And yeah, super good. Can't go wrong.
It's like we're kind of running out of time here. I've only got so much time left on these cards, and it's getting pretty late. So we just got a ton of Kamakas, and I really love their concert size. They make such a classic concert. I want to get Mika to sample 4 different concerts, and then we'll close out with Corey sampling some baritones here.
I think this is a perfect example of how when you put a spruce top on top of an instrument, and you have all the same koa back and sides amongst the other 4 or 3 kamakas, and then 2 of them had spruce, including this one. It's a perfect example of how spruce really can bring out some clarity, some punchiness. Spruce it up. Yeah, right. And no, but really, this is the perfect example of the characteristics of spruce, of how it can really brighten up the instrument. You still have that classic Kamaka, very warm, traditional, not to sound cliche, but very Hawaiian sounding sound from these ukuleles. But the spruce really just adds, which is what I like with spruce, is the clarity and the articulation that comes with the sound of the instrument. Again, with the koa back and sides, you still get that nice, warm, kind of mid-range kind of sound, again, that you're going to get with koa. The other 2 koa instruments that I played, the Herbalta model, bell shape, and then even the regular HF2 concert size. Again, just very warm, doesn't have too much punchiness really at all, just a really warm kind of traditional sound. But with this spruce top and then the other spruce top, it adds just a little more clarity to the overall sound, whether I'm strumming on it, which I was doing in the intro, or I was doing some picking. It just cuts through a little more in the sound spectrum. So overall, this is the Kamaka sound, that really warm traditional sound. But if you want a little warm with some more clarity or punchiness, then the spruce top is the way to go, which is why spruce is one of my favorite tonal woods to put on the top of the instrument. So yeah, check it out.
actually really good. What is this? 350?
319.
A 319.
Yeah, the Kalei series across the board, all the sizes are just so the best bang for your buck for sure. You get the all solid wood, the truss rods,
Anti-inflation model.
yeah. And I mean, the Master Series are still like really well priced for the quality and the
Yeah,
sound that
and
you
the
get.
spruce rosewood one, that is probably my favorite. I mean, the acacia one is very lively, which is nice. But yeah, the spruce rosewood is hard to beat.
I think the lattice braced baritones are like, I don't know, they're my favorite on the market. Didn't you get one, Mika? Yeah.
It's not fair how good it sounds.
All right, grab a chair, guys, and let's. So that's some of the options that you can find at the ukulele site.
Oh, my bad. I meant to do some harmonics.
Thanks, Mika, for coming down tonight.
Yeah.
Always a pleasure to be.
Always fun
the
when you
gentleman.
come down.
Gotta come by more often.
Absolutely.
Every week?
Hey, let me know. Give us some more lessons for our member site.
For you guys.
Got to get them from you two as well. Clay,
Yeah.
why don't you send us off tonight?
First, before we close out, I just want to send all of our condolences to the Kamaka Ohana. We lost a legend this past weekend. Uncle Fred Sr. Kamaka. A lot of you have known him as being the guy that gives all of the factory tours. He's impacted so many people and inspired them not only to appreciate the ukulele, but also to appreciate the music and the community that comes along with it. So, Kamaka Ohana, thank you guys so much for all of your support. All of our hearts are with you and our prayers for your family. And we just want to thank you guys for continuing to build some of the finest instruments in the world for over a century, and for all of you do for the ukulele and the community. Thank you guys so much.
100%. Thanks for that. He was such a vibrant and he had such soul.
Oh,
And,
yes.
yeah.
You know, being at
Great.
his age in his 90s, like giving the tour and being so excited
Lively,
and enthusiastic
yeah.
about it.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, it was something to see. You know, when I would stop by to say hi to the Kamaka family and just, you know, hang out. I always, for some strange reason, always came in the middle of the workshop tour. And I'm just like, oops, I was at Uncle Fred, you know. So, but it's good. I think we all have memories of him, and
Yeah, share
we're
yours
gonna,
with us too.
yeah, let us know your favorite memory of Uncle Fred Sr. Kamaka. And on behalf of all of us from the ukulele site, we want to thank you so much for all of your support. Please follow us on YouTube, all the social media. Click the like button on this video. Subscribe to our channel. Sign up for our newsletter. And also our VIP membership at the ukulelesite.com. You can get some lessons from this guy right here, Mr. Mika Kane, and more. So once again, thank you guys so much. And we'll see you again next time with another podcast video.
Aloha. We love you guys.